Two things that are on my mind, and what I'm really taking away from you is there's this conversation we're having, but I think the chain block, the dominoes, are going to expand out. So the two things that I wanted to share, one is this whole thing about the current community that we have, and then the other one is how do I create a new community that could be interested. So the first one, Kip, you talked about it, the first two. So when we are around others, the first thing people are wondering is, are we going to handle the transactions, the tasks? A lot of people talk about building team building, we'll do off-site team building programs. I just say, look, keep your agreements and you build your team. Right? Every single one of us has been in a meeting where someone said they were going to do something and then they didn't do what they were going to say. I cannot relationship build if someone won't do what they said they would do. Now notice two lines come off of the relationship build. When usually people hear relationship building, they think relationship building with people. I'm going to add in relationship building to craft or content. They're both C's. So this here, Heidi, when we get you who just had a day, Heather, when we have you who just had a day of fundraising, I don't know about anybody else in the room, but I want to talk with you about the craft of that relationship that you've built. The deeper my relationship is to my craft, the deeper my relationship is to the people, then we can go opportunity develop. It goes in this way. I'm almost afraid to say. But if I want to create new opportunities, I have to have had relationships. If I want to have had relationships, I needed to have handled the transactions. You invite us to a restore thing, we say, yes, we're going to be there, and then we don't show up. We're like, oh, I guess something happened. How many times could I do that before they go, oh, we just, we won't invite them anymore. So there's a model I could leave you with, is when you leave here, that current community that you have, how am I managing the transactions? How am I deepening my relationship to the content and to the people? And where are the opportunities to develop? We're done like 90 seconds. So there's two stories I have to choose between. Can I close this?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Just chuck it.
It's true. Yeah. We're okay. So, do you want to do anything?
No.
Okay. So let me do this one because I think it's the most vulnerable one. I taught high school for 5 years back in the 90s. And one year the grades started slipping and the engagement started slipping. My fellow teachers, I didn't like going to school. I like going to school for the kids. Anyway, I started this thing for 5 days. At 6 p.m., I picked up the phone, I called 5 students, one from each one of my classes. I went down the roster, I picked a kid, I picked the phone number, I picked up the phone, I called, I talked to the kid, I talked to the parent. And all I did was tell the kid what they did right that day. That was it. Hey, Susie, thanks for doing well on your test. Let me talk to your mom. Hey, Mrs. Smith, Jason Womack, we're at high school, your daughter did great on the test today. Click. It was a stretch sometimes, right? Hey, Johnny, you brought a pencil to class today. Let me talk to your mom. Mrs. Jones, Johnny brought a pencil to class today. It was awesome. Within 5 days, 25 phone calls. The next mornings, kids were talking. Then, the next week, I started acknowledging them for things I wanted them to do. And then across classes, they started doing it. Hey, David, thanks for organizing that desk on your way out. I noticed how you just put it in order. That was awesome. The next day, kids from other classes were organizing their desks. Here's what I think. They were hoping they'd get a call. Let me end the story. 2008, Jody and I were out to lunch with our new friends Mike and Corky. We had met them since we started our company. That's how I know we go later. We're sitting down, I'm telling this story, calling the kids, and Mike looks at me, he does this, he goes, "You're Womack?" He says, I had 4 daughters go through the Ohio Unified Public School System. He says, that's about 50 years of education total. 4 daughters, 50 years. He said, in 50 years of education, 1 teacher ever called me. Over and over. We had 4 daughters. Here was a quick kicker. Why did no other teachers call them at home? These kids were doing fine. There was no reason to touch. So when I think about developing the current community, this is the model I turn to. When I think about creating new community, I think of who can we reach out to that's doing awesome work to let them know that they're acknowledged and doing fine. What did Helen Keller say? Alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. If I had more time, I'd keep on going, but I went over.